Are you looking for the last one ever? You want something that's gonna hold up to about anything? This is a brand you need to get on your radar, for real. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd here with Bish's RV, here today with another Cedar Creek. Today, the 345IK, or as I think it should be called, the 345BB for big bathroom, because that's what this one has. You see RVs out there that sometimes have that like double sink, but just like a big, giant, wide bathroom. Cedar Creek, basically this floor plan is where all of that began. This is the originator of that concept, and it has been copied and permeated through the rest of the industry with great success, because where this one kind of comes in is this is sort of an in-betweener on their size. If you're looking for something a little smaller, lighter, less expensive, but you want all the big beefy build of a Cedar Creek, look at the 311. If you're looking for something just giant to leave parked all the time, you know, they have things like the 388 that do that very nicely. This is an in-betweener where maybe you're gonna tow it, maybe you're gonna park it, you're not sure what the future's gonna bring you, but like, you wanna spend a lot of time in it, you don't wanna be tripping over one another, and maybe you're a bigger, fluffier person and you need and or want more space in the bathroom. That's where this one comes into play. It has that studded aluminum structure, a non-laminated structure that defines Cedar Creek. And if you're not familiar with that, I get that that sounds totally bonkers in today's world, but this is how big high-end fifth wheels were made before lamination existed. Cedar Creek has just been around a really long time. Something else I really noticed about this one, has anyone else noticed how there's like almost no cloth furniture in RVing anymore? Well, again, sometimes Cedar Creek, with a little bit of that classic DNA, as it were, brings a couple of those more classic features. You know, some people, they like to leave the windows open, but the sun can make leather or leatherette or that, whatever you want to call that stuff, a little hot. The cloth is nice, it breathes a little bit. Maybe you don't like it, maybe you do. They offer something both ways. That's what I love about all this new stuff that I get to bring out here. Okay, either I'm going through some hot flashes over here, or yeah, somebody left the fireplace on. These things crank out heat. Thankfully, to help get the heat out of here, this RV has a pair of those big rain censoring vent fans. This one, since it's so tall, does include a wall control. And just to kind of showcase a little bit of what they do, I'm not saying I tore a tag off a bedspread that nobody ends up using anyway. But if you don't tell the pillow police, then I won't. I always love it. It's like, it's a pillow. And there's a thing on the pillow that says, "Under penalty of law, if this is removed, you will be punished." And I'm like, it's a pillow. Sorry. Apparently I feel a specific way about the pillow police. Bring it. I don't know what their jurisdiction is, but, you know, pretty sure. Technically speaking, we own this RV right now. Someone else may own it eventually. I'll get you a new pillow tag if you need it. Sorry, I talked way more about this than I meant to. So let me kick this off by, because this floor plan, you've seen the living room 1,000 times. I want to try to point out some things that are a little different here, like the fact that Cedar Creek still offers a true cloth interior for their seating, which, again, is just exceedingly rare. Now, I don't know how well it's translating to video, so I'm trying to, I don't know, scratch at it a little bit to let you see there is texture. It's not just a printed leatherette. By the way, that printed leatherette stuff, if you wear a lot of various product in your hair, hairspray type chemicals will eat that stuff. Not to mention it's not the most robust material in general. That's kind of the thing with Cedar Creek. They are not built to the industry standard. The entire construction of this RV is done differently. And the idea there, again, is something that is extremely strong, robust, long-term, and long-lasting. We have day-night roller shades all the way around these, and a 7-foot tall slide-out, which is so tall it makes the windows look small, even though it's not. They don't put a window in the door. They obviously have windows beside the door, but they do give you a little hotel peephole so you can see who's coming knocking, as it were. They also have a little bit different smart command system for most brands. One of the neat things here is you can just push buttons, you know, you don't have to go through. Oh, that's cool. Look at the lights. Okay, so when you push the living room button, you expect those lights to go off. That makes sense, right? Okay, I'm gonna turn it back. I'm trying to do it slowly in case someone is photosensitive. I don't want to like induce a seizure or a migraine or something. But did you see how the lights above the sofa also kicked off? You don't have to go through and individually I can't talk. You don't have to go through and individually click those like you normally do. Now, one of the other really cool features on these is they have night mode. You can just push one button. It'll kill a bunch of the lights, but the lights that are left on dim down to about 50%. So it's not extremely overpoweringly bright. And look, when you see it like on and off like that, it is pretty darn impressive. The overhang on the bar here, it's so close to me saying maybe we should slap a couple bar stools on that. I don't know. And I like the accent lighting on the face of that. It's not just flat, plain, boring wood, as it were. All the windows open for airflow, by the way. These all have power theater recliners. You will need 110 power. That's not going to work off just battery power, so you kind of plan accordingly. Now, I left the one in seating position. I left the one in napping position. That is fully reclined as far as those go. Now, kind of like the classic cloth interior, they do use a classic hide-a-bed over here, where it is a like a folding spring mattress. One of the benefits of that, though, is if you're crafty, you get some fitted sheets, you can leave sheets on that. So it can be a little bit quicker to set up. Is it comfortable? Probably not. I'll be candid. I'll be frank with you. I'll be Josh. I'll be George. I don't care who you want me to be, but I will shoot you straight. I bet it is not fun to sleep on. But it's there for guests, and you don't want them to sleep too awful long. You want them to go home. And if you want them to keep camping with you, what you do is you give them your contact person at Bish's RV, and we'll set them up with their own Cedar Creek or whatever. What you won't see in here, though, is the air conditioner. And ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, if we don't see the square, then we won't hear the air, because this has dual whisper ducted central AC. 15,000 BTU air units in both the living room and the bedroom, all tied into the same ducting. Racetrack ducted. Some people think that provides better airflow. Some people don't. I have manufacturers who all love to call one another liars. What I know is that people in Cedar Creeks don't seem to complain that it doesn't keep the RV cool. So it works well enough. Whether it's the best or not, I don't know. It seems to work just fine. Also, that TV can pivot around in case you want to, lounge on the TV. Or if you're like me, you put something on the TV and then you kind of zonk out for a minute. But here's what I was saying about that television right there. Also, be cool. Don't tell the boss I was product test. I mean, it's called a sleeper sofa. How do I know unless I try it, right? Now, if you pivot the TV, you're kind of sharing the screen a little bit from the theater seat where we just saw, where if I slide over here to the sleeper sofa, which works, by the way, you can have great view. Or you don't have to crank it even quite that far. You could split the difference a little bit. All just kind of depends on what you want to do. Some people like to sit on the couch and cuddle. Some people like to be separated in the theater seat. You camp the way you want to. I don't care. You're the one buying it, not me. You know what I mean? I've got to remember to hit the switch and get that tag off the fan up there. Otherwise, some customer's going to come in and be like, wait, what is going on up here? I tell you what, I'll get all the kitchen stuff open in just a minute. First of all, though, what we're looking at here is a 20 cubic foot gas electric refrigerator freezer. I haven't closed the slides on this one yet, but I will if you hang with me. I suspect you're going to be able to very easily access that when the slides are closed. In the meantime, though, let's check out all the storage galore. And is it just me? Where that tall slide, it almost feels, because they made it so tall, like you should have storage above there as well. Again, one of those classic kind of features. There is also an option for these for a gas electric two-way fridge, and depending on how you're going to camp, the one might work a little bit better for you than the other. If you're curious about that, leave me a note. I'll, chat with you in the comment section, help you understand the differences. You see the hidden hinges. All of the cabinetry in here, it is an all wood core, no MDF, which means particle board. It is pocket screwed. And there's a couple of things that you hear me gush about Cedar Creeks over. I really strongly don't feel they're a brand that gets the glory they deserve. because they're not always the flashiest and fanciest. They don't always garner the most attention. But I love their structure. I love the integrity of the people that work there. And I love their kitchens. They have some of the best kitchens out there. Like big, real, giant stoves and ovens you can actually cook in. And notice how they're giving you easy access wall-mounted plugs right there. And notice how wide those each side of the stove stands are. That's some of the Cedar Creek benefits that you're going to get here. You know, you can find some, I guarantee you can find something that's a little smaller, a pound lighter, $1 cheaper. Certainly. You know, there's plenty of other RVs that have excellent benefits. But if you are serious about spending time in an RV and you do some campsite cooking, this is a brand that I feel strongly you are going to like what it offers you. Kitchen obviously has all solid surface countertops. I'm sure you've been able to discern that. Their sinks, though, are huge, humongous. So you got the double dish drying rack. That right there is what most brands would call a big sink. And then they offer one that's way over the top of that. Not to mention all the space they have down below. A good example, actually, of how big that one sink is, we can use this guy over here to kind of showcase that. You can literally shove the entire wastebasket in that sink. It's pretty big. Quadruple drawers down to the floors over here. Tons of, you know, forks, spoons, knives, and everything else space, not to mention all the other drawers that we've seen. And I love anytime we get something sectionalized. Now, I would use that for silverware. Obviously, someone else felt that would make a excellent space for remote controls, although when a lot of new RVs are shipped, kitchen drawers are common for small stuff. Now, that living room is great. You see everybody and their brother do it. Big giant shower over here, plenty of room around the toilet. That's all great. I don't think anyone's going to argue about that. Where I think some people suddenly slap their face and go, ugh, because not everybody wants to see a double sink. A lot of people say, I'm still only going to have one person in the bathroom. I don't care about that. That's fine. I get that. The point of this bathroom is not the double sink. The point of the bathroom is just that it's big. And I mean, just brings all kinds of storage capacity. Has a little toe kick down below. If you see that accent light down below there, you know, you can really stand right up next to it. So you don't have to like stress your back bending over. Why is there a tire pressure monitoring system sticker on the bathroom mirror? Like, why would anybody connect those two dots? Anyway, now looking in the reflection of the mirror on the right side, what you do see is another one of those big vent fans. And these things are capable of practically sucking the hair off your head. See? But joking aside, it's a big fan where you want it. And it actually is surprising how many big fifth wheels at this price point, or some rarely a little bit higher, still don't do that standard. That is one of those things, like a lot of people say, I don't want RVs to ever have Camp Queen beds ever again anymore. I hate them. There's a lot of people who also say, I don't think any RV should ever have the small vent fan in the bathroom. They should always have a big fan. That's the most important area to have one. You know, big fans, no one's ever going to be upset about big fans. I appreciate you folks. I appreciate that sometimes you're big fans of what we do here. See what I did there? Tons of headroom in the shower, obviously. One piece fiberglass enclosure. What's cool about that is, again, if you are a little bit bigger person, it is structurally more sound so that it's not going to feel like you're walking on a trampoline floor and you can actually use that corner seat. Now, one of the things that's less obvious when I just put this on camera is the fact that these are taller. Like, case in point, I can walk from the hallway into the bedroom and not have to duck. I don't realize I do that most of the time. I think tall people, you just get used to constantly ducking, you know, especially when you're like me. You don't realize your hair acts like an early warning system. So when you lose your hair, you start to really get used to ducking everything. I don't have to do that around here. I can ET phone home neck stretch here and still have a chunk of room above my head here. So they have more headroom in these than a lot of RVs. How they accomplish that, interestingly, is due to the air conditioning, and we'll talk about that when we get upstairs. Now, while we're up there, you see how all of the air vents in these can be turned and closed individually. Very nice in the bedroom, by the way. And we are whisper ducted again, even here in the bedroom. So if you don't like a lot of noise at night, you can sleep well. Note the TV, not just its presence, but the fact that it's angled a little bit downward dog, yoga style, toward the television. So once your head's on a pillow, it's not quite the severe neck crank. Got a king bed over here, and I wanted to pull the corner of this off because something I've noticed, it's very subjective. But as far as factory mattresses go, that does not suck. That is not terrible. The space over here, they kind of standardize this with a king bed. They leave you room there, though. You can still get around it pretty well. And they leave you room where if you want to add a little stand for a CPAP machine, they put those outlets up high. That's another thing. It drives me crazy how many manufacturers will put an outlet down there and go, that's for your CPAP machine. I'm like, yeah, it's on the floor. What good is that? It's just not, I don't know. It doesn't work as well for me. You've got fully mirrored sliding doors, by the way, that latch in place. And you have a fully utilized front closet and nose cap. They made it so that you can have all kinds of hanging storage up here. Inside the nose cap, they shoved all this shelving, basically. And if you want, you might notice there's 1, 2, 3 pieces of cabinetry up here. The reason being, if you want, you can remove that bottom section and have a side-by-side washer dryer into the nose cap, which is why your hookups are over here, while still maintaining shelving and full hanging space. It's a little different, but it works. That black box right there, I get that it ain't pretty, but the fact is it works like a champ. That is a Cadet space heater, and it puts out some serious BTUs of heat. And like I said, when you lay on the bed, that TV ain't bad. Now, one thing I've noticed on these with their king beds in road mode, if you don't already have the door open when you close the slide, it's a little tricky to get in there. Now, it's not the worst I've seen, and if you leave the door open before you close the slide, you need to make sure you're careful. Obviously, bathroom access is no problem. You can pay a visit to the pair of drunken octopi having a fight club over there, you know, whatever. Coat closet right over here by the entry door on the right-hand side, by the way. I skipped over that earlier. Really shouldn't have. It's a big feature I always look for. And remember I said I thought we'd be able to get to the whole fridge in transit? I was not wrong. If you like seeing this stuff and getting to know for sure instead of just guessing, hit the little subscribe button under video. This is something I try to do for you all the time. In case you're curious what that beautiful little musical charm sound is, the fridge is going, hey, dummy, I'm left wide open. What are you trying to do? Cool the whole neighborhood? Nerd. Now, if you're not really familiar with the structure of this one, check out a couple of our other Cedar Creek videos. I don't want to bog down every single video covering the exact same stuff every single time. There's so much to cover. I want to kind of jump around a little bit. One of the things I want to showcase is up in that closet. Did you notice how like they stuffed like shelves up in the closet area there? That's because it actually has a little bit of an extra deep nose cap, and they don't waste that space. They go with one of the adjustable kind of air ride Pinbox systems right here. One of the things about that is if you need a little bit more, a little less cushion, as it were, if it's pushing you around, well, you know, you can soften it up as it needs to be. Up front here, this is the standard front end on one of these. You can add gen prep. You can also add a full-on 5500 Awning propane generator, which is nice. I will tell you, if you do that, keep in mind, it doesn't come with an expanded propane capacity, so you're going to want to watch out for that. Down below here, you might notice the gas grill quick connect. Also, other than where the quick connect is located, you can see how it's, you know, essentially fully skirted on that drop frame area there, which is one of the things that can help protect your tanks a little bit, because, and certainly back under the living area, it's not fully skirted because the slide opens, and that does allow more weather to get to your frame rails. But this is just cutting more wind from getting to the frame rails, and inside the frame rails are your holding tanks. Now the underbelly is enclosed, forced air heated, actually has drop panel accessibility kind of material. It's funny because a lot of people have become very familiar with that and associated that with Salem and Wildwood, but it is things like Cedar Creek and Cardinal where it actually first began. So just giving credit where it's due. Now, one of the other cool things on this one, this is where it separates itself again from the 311, because it has that extended bathroom space. You also end up with a huge basement on this one. Now, you might also notice There's a big old curved thing over there, and then there's something that looks like an egg beater. You know what else that looks like? That looks like some of the drum spinners off BattleBots. Anybody else watch BattleBots? Oh my lord, I love that show. And kind of like BattleBots, you can reach up here and go, robots activate. And if you want to not have to wrestle with a heavy 50 amp cable, you don't have to, which is nice. Now, docking center over here also has controls for the hydraulic slides. All slides on this are hydraulic, which makes them move in and out real fast. Sometimes you only want to open one slide or the other, so you can select those. You can turn certain slides off. And sometimes you run into a situation of low power, and you're like, I only have enough juice to open one or the other. And speaking of hydraulics, we also have hydraulic leveling, but 6-point. That's one of the interesting things. So in the world of big fifth wheels, a lot of brands have 2 tiers. What you don't realize is the way Cedar Creek is kind of positioned. I'm going to use Montana as a bit of a reference point here. So there's the Montana High Country, there's the Montana, and then there's Legacy, right? Well, Cedar Creek used to do something kind of like a High Country called a Silverback. They don't really do that anymore. They just do the full Cedar Creek that we're looking at, which is intended to be kind of in between a High Country and a full Monty, and then they do Champagne, which is kind of flirting with full Monty and Legacy series, just to sort of give you an idea. Now, this floor plan would not be able to be engineered as well if it weren't for those stable steps, because of the way they overlap the tires. That actually allowed them to better balance the hitch weight on this. You saw the MoreRide shock dampening suspension package back there. Factory standard, this comes with tire pressure monitoring and a separate little handheld control. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't dislike having an app with the tire pressure monitoring system, but I don't know about you. But like even like this, every time I open my phone, I have notifications. You know, Amazon's barking at me or something like that. Like, it's just constant. Sometimes when you're driving, it's kind of nice to not have your phone chirping at you even more. Now, you notice we've got a big awning up front, but no awning on the slide. Well, the good news is that is an optional piece of equipment. It's also a neat little Thule armless awning. So if that's something you're looking for, that's definitely something we can get you. Now, cool safety factor here, like everybody and their brother's backup camera prepped. And if they're not, frankly, you can still throw a backup camera on anything. But those extra brake lights up high on either side of that big window, that adds more visibility to those brake lights for other drivers and enhances your safety. And it's crazy how many different RVs are out there. You know, sometimes they're alike, sometimes they're different. They're all tweaked and tuned a little bit differently to appeal to a little bit different person. There's no one RV I've found that works for everybody. There is one thing, though, I do believe will give every single person some measure of benefit, and that is some level of solar on the RV. Not every RV needs a massive 5,000 watt solar package, brother. Although one of my customers literally custom built their own. I say customers, I'm not actually in sales. Somebody who I have spoken to who made the decision to purchase with us, bought a big painted Montana, added the most insane custom solar package to it I've ever seen. Frankly, I tell you what, if you want to see that in more detail, leave me some notes. Maybe I can shoot him a message and maybe I can get him back out to our store and we can go over all that. But the 190 watt roof solar panel that we're looking at right there, even if the RV is just in storage, it will help keep the batteries topped off so that when you're ready to start hitting the hydraulic slides and jacks, which are power hogs, by the way, they're actually going to work. Now notice here, low profile air conditioner as opposed to a traditional, like one of those. There's nothing wrong with one of those right there, but you notice how that roof's tapered down a little bit more. Cedar Creek doesn't do that. They stick up a little bit higher. So they want to make sure that you're not going to rip that thing off an overpass. By the way, another area that you can see and feel the heft of these things is grab their baggage doors. I'm not joking. You can do reps with these things. Maybe you could. I can't do much more than 3 or 4, then my chicken arms give out. But they are thick, they are fully insulated, they are solid. And that, everything I just said, I think is just, it sums up Cedar Creek as a whole. It's what they do. It's very different. I enjoy seeing it. Maybe it's not for everybody, but again, if what you're looking for, like, I want the last RV I'm ever gonna own and I want it to hold together, and when I'm done with it, I want it to still have good value for when I flip it in whether I trade it in or just sell it outright or something like that. That's where these guys come in. It's a good bones camper, if that makes any kind of sense. It's something if you had to, you could work on it, but the structure is still there. And you can't say that about everything. So if this is looking like the one for you, give us a call. Let's get you camping. I will leave some links in the video description to check out some different things. And if you appreciate the way that we point out the good, the bad, the ugly with everything in between, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like our video. Leave us a couple comments, tell us thanks if nothing else. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and best wishes from Bishes, everyone.